Most creatives think you need a complex strategy to increase your client revenue. What if I told you the real strategy is so simple that you'd wish you knew it sooner? Well, the story I'm about to tell you is something I did to triple the amount I made from one client, and I guarantee it's not what you expect. Let's dive in. By the way, my name is Chris Pieta. I run a product photography company and teach creative business online. I learned this lesson the hard way. In fact, I left 10 grand on the table because I neglected to do this. I made these mistakes so that you don't have to. This is a real story with a real client that I'm actually still working with. We've been working together for 2 years now, and in that time, I've seen the brand evolve. Together, we've created a new brand identity, and their photography is incredible. And this drives them results. Now, I first landed this client through my signature method, which I teach all of my students inside my program, Creative Biz Launch. I first contacted them with a cold email. We hopped on a quick sales call to dive into their problems and how I can help them as a photographer. And then I sent them a proposal after the call. We negotiated a little bit on price and terms, and I locked them in as a 3-month retainer client to start. Now, I don't want to use real numbers here just to protect my clients. If I'm talking generally how much I made in a year from all my clients, I'll use real numbers, but for situations like this, I don't like to reveal that information about my client. So for this 3-month retainer, I was charging $1,000 a month for, I think it was 10 photos. They were easy for me to shoot. They loved the photos, and what photographer wouldn't want an extra $1,000 a month? Now, if you're someone who struggles to land long-term retainers, if you can't land those repeat clients, and if you feel like clients just don't understand the value that you provide for them, then this video is for you. I'm going to be walking through the simplest approach we can all start doing to be able to land more retainers, close bigger deals, and turn those one-off projects into long-term partnerships. All right, so where are we at so far? 1, I reached out to this new lead, I closed them as a client for 3 months, and now we've been delivering photos to them. Let me tell you this client was super easy to work with. They loved all the photos from the start. They trusted me fully with a creative process, and it was just a perfect client relationship. Now, usually my advice is to never sign on a client for a long-term retainer from the start because you never know how they will be to work with. But this time around, I feel like I got lucky. Now, at some point, 3 months have passed and the retainer is done. So what's the logical thing to do in this situation? Well, ask to extend the retainer, obviously. I'm having fun, I'm making money, they're loving the results and getting a positive ROI, so it seems like a no-brainer for them to renew. So I pitched them a new retainer, and they say now is not a good time, but maybe in a couple months. All right, no big deal. I'll reach out to them in a few months. This was still early on in my business career, so I didn't really push back on them here. I just made a note in my CRM to reach out to them, and that's exactly what I did. A few months passed and I emailed them asking if now is a better time. And here's what happened next. They actually signed another 3-month retainer for the same deliverables immediately. I was pumped. Closed another multi-$1,000 deal and I'm feeling good. But then the same thing happened again. 3 months later, they didn't want to renew, and I still didn't push them on this. They told me to reach out later, so that's what I did. Now at this point, let's do some math. I've been working with this client on and off for a year, 3 months on, 3 months off. I was making $3,000 every 3 months, and then we had 3 months off. So really I was making $3K every 6 months. Not terrible, but I knew I could provide them with more value if we just continuously worked together. I couldn't understand why they didn't want to renew. My work was great, they loved working with me, and they were getting an ROI from the money they were spending with me. I wanted to dig into this, so I booked a call with them just to catch up and see how I can help them even more. What this client told me on this call surprised me, and at the same time, I felt so dumb. Their reason for not working with me was so simple, yet I just didn't ask. On that call, they said that they just couldn't keep up with posting all the photos I was doing for them. They loved my work, it was getting them results, except they just didn't like posting. When I heard that they were sitting on all these photos, a light bulb went off in my head. If someone could post these photos for them, I'd be able to extend my contract indefinitely with this client, and they would grow their business because their social media channels would get more and more content being posted consistently. So what did I do? I told them I'd handle the posting on their social media platforms every single month for a small fee, and they agreed almost instantly. I figured out what the problem was, I listened to them explain it, and I proposed a solution. That statement right there is the core of any service-based business. This is why we exist. This is why photographers, videographers, web designers, consultants, this is the core of any service-based business. We figure out what the problem is, we listen to the client explain it, and we propose a solution. It sounds so simple, and we think it has to be more complicated than that. But the core of any service-based business is that we identify problems and we solve them. Most of us creatives don't want to identify problems. We hard pitch a 10 photo package over and over again, and we're not flexible at all. Our goal is to help clients, not to pitch a 10 photo package. So why did me posting on their social media unlock a 3x increase in revenue? How did I triple my revenue with this client? I'll break it all down in just a second here. Let's take a brief pause because I have something for you that's 100% free and I know you'll love. I know you're here because you're serious about growing a photography or videography business, and I have something that could be a game changer for you. My free 60-minute workshop is the ultimate guide to turning your passion into profit. It's packed with actionable tips and insights on how to attract and retain high-paying clients, create irresistible service packages, and hit that $10,000 month milestone. I teach you all this and more in my workshop. If you're ready to transform your business and start attracting the clients you deserve, sign up for that in the link in the bio. Okay, so how did me posting on their social media unlock a 3x increase in revenue? Well, I told them I would post on social media and handle all of that for an extra $500 a month. That's a super reasonable rate. Now, my monthly rate went from $1,000 to $1,500. But Chris, that's not a 3x increase in revenue. You're just making an extra $500 a month. And yes, that's true. But here's what happened. No longer was the limiting step posting to their social media. So there was never a backlog of photos. What this meant is that I could work with this client month after month after month and constantly have my contract renewed. Before, I was making $3,000 every 6 months. Now I was charging $1,500 a month working all 6 months. So I was making $9,000 every 6 months rather than 3. That's how I tripled my revenue, all because I dove into what the client's problem actually was here. Imagine tripling your client revenue. What would that do for you? What would that do for your family? I'm guessing a whole lot. So what's the first thing that we need to do? Number 1, never assume. After a project is over, the standard thing to do is to pitch another project. When the client says no, don't immediately back down. You know your service helps your client. So when they say no, it's your job to dig into the why. Is their budget all used up for this quarter? Are they short-staffed so they don't have time to manage this project? Understand that your client's needs might evolve. Be prepared to evolve with them. Remember, each client has unique needs and challenges. While it's true that you'll notice these trends over time, with what clients need, don't fall into the trap of generalizing based on past experiences. We need to always be able to communicate with clients. And this can mean a feedback session at the end of a project, even if it's just a quick phone call or an email to the client. Let's ensure that the client needs are actually being met. If there was something wrong with your delivery of the final assets, it's important to hear it from the client. The client will tell you where you should be focusing your energy to improve. By actively listening to what they're saying, your clients will feel heard. Pay close attention to what clients are telling you, even if it's indirectly. This is how you find new opportunities, and this is the whole point of the story. It's to show you how much opportunity is actually out there if you just look for it. We need to be proactive. Don't make the same mistakes that I did. I wasn't proactive and I didn't anticipate the client's needs until after a year of working with them. I left over $10,000 on the table with this client because I wasn't proactive. And that taught me a valuable lesson. When you're proactive, you anticipate their needs and then you offer solutions. And you follow up consistently with these people. Based on what you learn about the niche you're in, you'll be able to anticipate client needs ahead of time. This allows you to potentially expand your services and offer the solution to the exact problems that clients are facing. This is about taking the initiative to learn the client's problems, and if it's a problem that you can't solve, consider developing that skill. If it's valuable to your business, it might be worth looking into taking a course or hiring a coach to teach you that skill. If that skill unlocks a new $10,000 project, it's gonna be worth a couple grand to shortcut your process to learn that skill. If you've already worked with a lot of clients, another approach to this can be sending out feedback questionnaires, either through a form or just email. Figure out what the challenges are your clients are facing. After they stop working with you, talk to them, communicate with them, and see what you could have done better. If you can figure out the core reason they stopped working with you, you can either improve your service or add on new services to serve those clients. What I'm teaching you here isn't some complex business strategy. It's the simplest strategy there is out there, yet it's overlooked. People want the complex strategies. They want the hacks. They want the big, bold tactics. When I tell people that it's about the simple things repeated over and over and over again, they don't believe me. But the truth is, a successful business isn't built on fancy tricks that you do every once in a while. It's built on the boring basics, the boring fundamentals that you do every single day, over and over again. We do this stuff every single day, and we get 1% better each day. And then 3 years down the road, We look back and we see how far we've actually come. And as business owners, we know it wasn't anything special, anything fancy. We just showed up consistently every single day with a ferocious tenacity, and we won. We're playing the best game on earth, entrepreneurship. I'm so grateful you gave me your time today, and if you want to have the most valuable 60 minutes of your week, go and check out my free workshop down below. My name is Chris Pieta, and I'll see you in the next one.